Women's Association Football, more commonly known simply as women's football or women's soccer, is a team sport of association football when played by women only. It is played at a professional level in multiple countries, and 176 national teams participate internationally. The history of women's football has seen competitions being launched at both the international and national levels. After the first golden age of women's football occurred in the United Kingdom in 1920s, with one match attracting over 50,000 spectators, the Football Association instituted a ban from 1921 to 1970 in England that allowed women's football on the ground used by its member clubs. In many other nations, female footballers face similarly hostile treatment and bans by male-dominated organizations. In the 1970s, international women's football tournaments were extremely popular, and the oldest surviving continental championship was founded, the Women's Asian Cup. However, FIFA did not allow the women even to speak at the FIFA Congress until 1986. The FIFA Women's World Cup was first held in China in 1991 and has become a major television event in many countries. The reports of an annual match being played in Midlothian, Scotland are reported as early as the 1790s. In 1863, football governing bodies introduced standardized rules to prohibit violence on the pitch, making it more socially acceptable for women to play. The first match of international character took place in 1881 at Hibernian Park in Edinburgh, part of the tour by Scotland and England teams. The Scottish Football Association recorded a women's match in 1892. The Football Association ban. Despite being more popular than some men's football events, women's football in England was halted in December 1921 when the Football Association outlawed the playing of the game on association members' pitches. The Football Association stated that the game of football is quite unsuitable for females and ought not to be encouraged. Players and football writers have argued that this ban was due to envy of the large crowd that women's matches attracted, and because the Football Association had no control over the money made from the women's game. Dick Kerr ladies player Alice Barrow said, "We could only put it down to jealousy. We were more popular than the men, and our bigger gates were for charity." In other countries, women's football was further delimited by nationwide bans, which often resembled in English Football Association measures. The German Football Association banned women's soccer from 1955 until 1970. In Brazil, the Vargas regime and military dictatorship literally prohibited girls and women from playing football from 1941 to 1979. Despite the ban, some women's teams continued to play. The English Ladies Women's Association had to play some of its matches at rugby grounds. Tournaments. The English Ladies Football Association Challenge Cup. Following the Football Association ban on women's teams on the 5th of December 1921, the English Ladies Football Association was formed, with 58 affiliated clubs. A silver cup was donated by the first president of the association, Len Bridget. A total of 23 teams entered the first competition in the spring of 1922, the Championship of Great Britain and the world. In 1937, the Dick Kerr Ladies Football Club, who had lost to Scotland Rosengren Ladies in 1933, but continued to be proclaimed as world champions, played the Edinburgh City Girls in the Championship of Great Britain and the world. Dick Kerr won the competition with a 5-1 scoreline. The 1939 competition was more organized affair, and the Edinburgh City Girls beat Dick Kerr with a 5-2 score in Edinburgh, following this up with 7-1 demolition of Glasgow Ladies in Falkirk to take the title. The revival of the women's game. The English Women's Football Association was formed in 1969. The ban in England was maintained by the Football Association for nearly 50 years, until January 1970. In the next year, UEFA recommended that the national association in each country should manage the women's game. In 2002, Lily Parr of Dick Kerr's Ladies was the first woman to be inducted into National Football Museum Hall of Fame. She was later honored with a statue in front of the museum. It was not until 2008, which is 87 years later, that the Football Association issued an apology for banning women from the game of football. Women's World Championships. In 1970, an Italian Women's Football Federation ran the 1970 Women's World Cup in Italy, supported by the Martini and Rossi strong wine manufacturers, and entirely without the involvement of FIFA. This event was at least partly played by clubs. The 1971 Women's World Cup with national teams was hosted by Mexico the following year. The final, won by Denmark, was played at Estadio Azteca, the largest arena in the entire Americas north of the Panama Canal at the time, in front of crowds estimated at 110,000 or 112,500 attendees. During the 1970s, Italy became the first country to introduce professional women's football players on a part-time basis. Italy was also the first country to import foreign footballers from other European countries, which raised the profile of the league. Sweden was the first to introduce professional women's domestic league in 1988. A 2014 FIFA report stated that at the beginning of the 21st century, women's football, like men's football, was growing in both popularity and participation, as well as more professional leagues worldwide. From the inaugural FIFA Women's World Cup tournament held in 1991. However, as in some other sports, women's pay and opportunity are lower in comparison with professional male football players. Major League and international women's football have far less television and media coverage than the men's equivalent. While a number of features continue to improve, this is not the case for female coaches. They continue to be underrepresented in a number of European women's leagues. Despite these factors, the popularity and participation in women's football continues to grow. In 2022, Barcelona had the largest reported attendance for women's football since the 1971 Women's World Cup final, Mexico-Denmark at Azteca Stadium. Real Madrid and Wolfsburg were the visiting teams at the Camp Nou in the Championship League.